It's my pleasure being on this platform.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
a great honor for me, and thanks for at least I've approached you on an impromptu, and you're great.
Thank you so
Karibu
much.
sana.
It's my pleasure to be here, to be with you too.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
So, Ole-miss, could you kindly introduce yourself to our followers who are watching you?
Yes, thank you so much,
Yes.
my friend. My name is Barnabas Kirui. I am actually the chairman of Gotapka, Dallas. I live in Dallas, Texas, here in the United States, but in Kenya, I come from the county of Bomet, a constituency called Konoin, and the ward is called Boito, and I come from a small village called Kabiangek. That is where I was born and bred, and I'm so happy to have come from all the way over there to here in the United States.
For you, because I've known you for quite some time, you've been like a brother, you've been like a mentor, and I've seen you mentoring some young adults, athletics, and I love you have the passion of athletics. You were saying yesterday, everything big happens in Texas, but majorly happens in Dallas, Texas.
Correct.
And somebody else was asking you about, what about scholarships, athletics? Could you be briefly enough to explain what that all entails?
Absolutely, thank you so much.
Yes.
As you might have known, like you said, you are a friend of many years. I actually do. I came to the United States through an athletics scholarship, and I have taken it upon myself to say, because this is an opportunity that I stumbled upon when I was on campus in Kenya. I want to be able to try and help other people to do the same, to be able to come over here.
That's true.
So the way it worked is that myself, I went to school in Kablong Boys, graduated from there, went to KU briefly. While I was in KU, I came across this platform where people were training, and I heard that the end prize would be to go to the United States to do a track and field scholarship.
Yes.
And that is how I ended up starting to train, and then I met a coach, and then he helped me point me in the right direction, and I ended up in the United States. Now, after I graduated, after doing my studies here, I went back, and what I normally do is whenever I get a platform,
Yes.
I try to go back home and educate the kids about the opportunities, these scholarship opportunities that we have.
Yes.
And what I do is that for people who graduate from high school, you are able to go to a training camp, whether or not you are a born runner or you are a passionate wanting to be runner. Everybody has an equal opportunity. So my message to the young people out there is that after you graduate from Form 4, that's not the end of life. You now start thinking about training, and that is where I come in. I coach kids. I tell them the process, the requirements on how to attain a track and field scholarship, and how to ultimately be able to move to the United States. And that's actually my passion.
Good. They say we follow in the footsteps of giants. You being one of the beneficiaries of athletic scholarship, do you see that during your time and right now, are they still the same, or there have been very many changes?
For the most part, they are still the same, but there has been so many changes. During my time, people were very honest. We didn't have the era of the videos and recordings and the social media, and as a result, it used to be. We used to operate on a goodwill word. So you would write to the coach and say, my name is Barnabas, I'm a super fast runner, give me an opportunity. Now, down came the era of YouTube, and people started being creative in other ways. And nowadays, when you want to get a school, the coaches don't just take your word for it. Nowadays, they need some evidence. Okay. That's why I tell people, if you are looking for scholarships and stuff, make sure you have some evidence, like a video, some track, some training videos and stuff like that. As far as the process has remained the same. You need to graduate from Form 4, you need to do an exam called the SAT, and then you need to contact the coaches. In the process, while you do all these things, you need to be in the training camp, training and working hard to get ready for it. That's and then lastly, what needs to happen is that the only other change that I've seen over the years is in terms of the cost. It used to be $100 to apply for a US visa. Now it's $160. There was a fee called Service Fee Student Exchange Visa visa services. It used to be $100. It's now $350. So it's very costly. That's why I tell the parents and the kids who want to do it, you have to have the passion, and you should be willing to support the kid through the process until they finish. Otherwise, for the most part, the process is the same. It's now a little bit more competitive. Back then, anybody who got an I-20, which is the admission document to come to the United States, automatically pretty much got a visa. Nowadays, sometimes you have a full scholarship and they ask you super tidy, needy question like, what is the city of this school? Why did you choose this school? What is the population? They ask more than what the student in Kenya should know for them to come to the United States.
I like that.
Yes,
I like the point. You now have spoken about the requirements they required, but you've been able to see the challenges that students are going through. Seeing on that camera, there's a student watching you right now. He's just completed high school back home. He wants to move to the United States or any other place, but on a scholarship of athletics. What would be your advice to them?
Number one, after you graduate from high school, number one, you need to at least have a C+, sometimes a C plane. Now, after that, the next thing you need to do is to go to a training camp. Because, like I said, nowadays you need to have evidence that you can actually run before you can get a school. So you go to a camp. We have so many camps. Now, people even train from home with the camps that are in the... I'm from a city called Kabiangek, a place called Kabiangek. The nearest city is called Litein. In Litein, there is a training camp. So if I was an athlete, for example, from my area, you just join into the club. You just show up every morning and run with them. That's number one. And then number two, you need to do an exam called the SAT. SAT is an exam that even the American kids, before you join college, you have to do it. So you have to do that exam. Now, after you do that exam, the next thing now will be for you to apply for colleges. Now, the way you apply for colleges, there's so many ways. Nowadays, we have so many coaches from the United States that come to Kenya to do what we call a time trial. So in Eldoret, most of the days, at least once or twice, a month, there's a time trial. They would come and say, okay, we are doing a 5K. So you should also, so the other thing is, after you train for a while, you should invest in time to go and test yourself, because you don't want to train and never give yourself an opportunity to see how fast you are going. And then after you do that, you now start applying schools. Now, that is now where people like myself come in. Here is my advice. If they are in America, there are schools. The top school is called Division 1 school. This is in terms of competition, track and field. It's called Division 1 school. The lowest level is called junior college. Division 1 school is the most competitive, the hardest. You need to do an exam, you need to pass this, you need to clear, you need to do this. Junior college, the easiest. You just need to graduate, do SAT. You don't even need to get a certain mark in the SAT. It's more of those. Not that I discourage people passing the SAT very well, but it's not as stringent to enter. So I tell people, if you want to come to the United States as soon as 1 or 2 years after graduating from high school, try to apply for a junior college. When you come to a junior college, first of all, it's very cheap. If they give you a partial scholarship, for example, it's not less than $10,000. It's not more than $10,000 once you are in the United States. So it's one of those schools where you can actually sponsor yourself to go to school and do that. So that is my advice. So then after you apply, one thing I do is that before you apply for school, make sure they have athletic scholarship. Make sure, because the advice which still stands from my time was that you need to select a bunch of schools, 3, 4, 5 of them, and apply them, and then obviously you'll get 1 or 2 responding. But even if they don't respond, you just go to the next 5 or 6 and apply for that like that. So just keep doing that. That's the process. And if you are patient, if you are determined, and the only thing I thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, sir.
The one thing you really need to do as a student is this. There is these generic emails. You generate one email and then you send to 10 coaches. The coaches are friends. Sometimes you send to the coaches who are friends the same message, the same times you have friends. It's easy to tell when you are faking stuff. So what you need to do is that you need to be authentic. Just generate your own email. If you are writing an email to a coach called Barnabas, say, hey, Coach Barnabas, my name is Nathan. I graduated, I'm doing this, so that it looks, you don't copy paste email to 50 people and they look, and then also the other advice I give you is that don't fake the time too much. Some people, they just write, I've run a 10K in 27 minutes. 27 minutes would have made you a millionaire, because you would be a professional runner. So you need to know. What I normally do, which I do with the kids I help, is that I go to a school, I look at their roster. Their roster, every school would normally have the roster for cross country or track and field, and then you see their record. So you will see, oh, the best guy has run 1500 in 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yes.
So then I look for the kid who can run 349 or 353.
That's
and then if you write to the coach and say, hey, I can run 1500 in 352, then they see, oh, that is the school record I have, or that is near or thereabout. So don't write to the coach as if you are a superman, and then you will come here, because they will always see that sometimes these coaches have experience like myself. They will see through when you are trying to obviously lie. So just make sure you sound very authentic. You will get the coach who would rather get the person who is trying to be the best, instead of saying I'm already the best before they are there.
Okay. They call you Ole-miss. Is that
Yes.
because you attended Ole-miss University somewhere?
Correct.
Okay.
So I went to a school called the University of Mississippi,
Yes.
but the nickname is called Ole-miss.
Okay.
And it's very catchy for me because it kind of sounds Kenyan. So, but it's actually the nickname of the school. Yeah, it's called Ole-miss.
Okay.
And it, if you know Mississippi and the history of this country,
yes.
it has something to do with that. I think it emanated from the word Ole-miss, which is an old lady, I guess, and then so it's the pronunciation, and now it ended up, but it has become a very good, school name, because it has gone over some metamorphosis.
All right. They said these films were porn. It never realized till it dries up. Barnabas here was able to utilize his pond. He's now completed. He's moved another step. Students who come to United States, they get a culture shock. They were trying to figure their way out from, because